What's up, y'all? Been a little bit. Just wanted to get back on and just talk about some new gear. It's a new gear, new year. I got some new microphones to try out. I bought the Cad Percussion C98s. There's a couple videos on the internet about these things, not a ton of them. One thing that I was surprised nobody really talked about was the difference in overall sound profile that these have over like dynamic mics. I have the Shure microphone, like it's like the drum kit mics that you can get. It's like a 7-piece mic kit. Actually, I lied. It's the PGA Drum Kit 5 that I got, and then the kick drum microphone that comes in that pack. I bought 2 other kick drum mics to put on my low toms, my 2 floor toms. So that's why it's a 7 mic kit for me. That being said, great mic kit. No problems with it. I actually really like it. It's very useful, super low noise, no problems whatsoever, but I was just curious. So I ended up buying 5 of these mics right here. You can get them for about 45 bucks a piece. They're a condenser mic, super cardioid pattern, and it's a oh, sorry, not a super cardioid. It's just a cardioid pattern. So great low noise mic also. I mean, it's a cheap option, but ultimately really nice sound. And when I plugged them in for the first time, I still had a couple of my PGA mics plugged up, and I mean the high end, they just sound more airy. These percussion mics do, these C98s from Cad. There's probably a little less low end in them than, say, like the PGA ones. The high end probably has a steeper shelf or something. I would say beyond like 5K that these don't have. These are much more open sounding in that upper end, providing kind of a little bit more detail and clarity to what you're picking up around your drum kit. So I was really happy with it. Somebody is probably going to tell me at some point watching these videos that I'm full of crap when I say what I'm about to say, but there is a Shure SM57 knockoff on Amazon right now for like 15 bucks. I bought like 5 of those mics to just see. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's, less than 100 bucks. I got 5 mics. So I just decided to see like what the deal was with them. I mean, I can hardly tell a difference between them and the Shure SM57s. So I threw one of those on the bottom snare. And then I also bought some more of these ST 131s. You can see, I don't know if it'll focus, but it's trying to focus on me. These are end address microphones. I really like them for recording a bunch of different stuff. I mean, I've used them on quite a few things, but I really like them on acoustic guitar. So I think I have 4 of them now. I don't know if they're selling them anymore or what, but the only downside to these mics, I would say, is the crappy ST clip that they go on. So I would just suggest buying, kind of an aftermarket mic clip and using one of theirs, one of the aftermarket kits, microphone clips. It's either that, or if it'll focus right there, you can see that little nut that's a flathead adjustable nut for tension. That's the real downside. That nut comes loose all the time. Like every time you move that microphone around in that clip, it moves around. And as far as the clip itself, you can see it doesn't hold the microphone super well. So if you're in an environment, or if, like, you know, if you start monkeying with this thing inside of a stand, if you're moving it around the room, chances are it's going to fall out. Now, that being said, this is a really well built microphone. I've actually taken one of these completely apart, and this aluminum, you know, exterior that's on here, you're not going to damage this mic if it falls on the ground. It's probably going to dent it, and it'll look like crap afterwards, or you may break something on it. But I would be very surprised if the capsule itself inside of there ever took any damage the way that they've built that thing. So I just think it's a really great utility mic. They have been extremely cheap because Sterling was either going out of business or they were getting bought out. I'm not too sure exactly what the details are with what was going on with those guys, but they were like $30 a mic, so I ended up buying, you know, 4 of those over the last little while, so that if I ever needed them. One of the things that I decided I was going to use this mic on, because it's end address, is shooting it right down on to the snare. So it would be a useful alternative over, say, like an SM57, and maybe it would give, you know, a little bit more transient because it's a cardioid mic. So it's going to, actually, I think these ones might be super cardioids. I'd have to look it up, but anyway, at any rate, having that aimed at the snare on the top, that might give you a little bit higher transient than an SM57, maybe a little bit more clarity, just some difference that you can then tone sculpt. The other thing that I really like about both of these mics is they have super high SPL on them, so you can put them in front of really loud stuff and they're not going to get damaged. The Cad mic has, I'm just looking on the box right now, it has like 140 decibel max. I bet you could probably even go louder than that and it wouldn't blow it up. Most of the time manufacturers will say stuff like that, but it actually is rated for a little bit higher. They just guarantee that it's going to work at that level, kind of a thing. I want to say the ST131 is in a very similar, you know, SPL range as that. So pretty cool. I'm enjoying using them. So like I said, new year, new gear. Something that I'm toying with the idea of is buying some more outboard pre's. I have been toying with this idea back and forth between the MPA2 mic pre from Art and going to a full channel strip from Art, the Channel 3, which is kind of like the baby brother to the voice channel that I already own. About the only difference that I can see in, you know, what's going on in it is it doesn't have a gate or an expander circuit built into it. I think otherwise it's pretty much the same exact preamp as the voice channel is, except for it's about $250 cheaper. So, you know, if a gate's not that important to you or an expander isn't that important to you, oh, it does actually have a de-esser built into the voice channel also. So those two functions really are the main differences that I can tell from those two channels. There is, on the Channel 3, there is an option to put the ADA card in it, the analog to digital to analog card in it, which I think adds like another $50. I don't think that you can do it. I don't know. I'd have to see if you can do it after you buy the preamp or the channel strip. If you can add it as an add-on later, but they do sell it as an option either one way or another. So my plan is to try and either buy enough of those channel strips to cover my drum set, so at least 12 of them, or to buy 6 of the MPA 2s, which would also be 12 this year. So the upside to having the channel strip over mic pre is that you just have EQ and compression built right into it. So The downside to that is that it's baked into the track. So, you know, once you get into the mixing and engineering phase of an audio track, if what you've done on the way in to, you know, compress or tone sculpt with EQ is not the right thing for that track, then that can be something that is going to cause you to have to go back and retrack. Fortunately for me, I own all of this crap, so that's not a big deal for me. If I want to retrack stuff, I can just do that. The only downside to it is that if you had a really cool performance, it might be tough to get that performance back. You may end up with like completely different dynamics. You know, when you're recording drums, there's so much nuance to drums, so there's a lot of different dynamics that are involved in how things are sounding. So, you know, recreating an actual performance might be tough. But altogether, I am super satisfied with the new mics that I have, and whatever I end up deciding to do as far as mic pre's or channel strips, it's only going to add benefit to what I've already purchased. You know, the mic pre, the purpose for having a tube mic pre, if you don't know already, is you can add some character to it. You can add basically distortion into the circuit as it's going through, and you know, you can overdo that as like an effect. You know, sometimes people, when they scream on albums and stuff, you can hear the distortion in their vocal as it's being recorded, and they're doing that on purpose for an effect. That tube saturation, the other idea behind that is it actually helps cut through in the mix a little bit. So, you know, real tube saturation, having real transformers, you know, involved to like warm up the signal as it goes into your DAW, might be something that you like. So the benefit is I've got, you know, a bunch of just very clear mic pre's on my audio interfaces that I'm using. I use the Scarlett 18i20. It's the version 3. I think there's a version 4 out. And then I also have the Sapphire Pro 40 that I'm using as an 8-at option for 8 external mic pre's to add into that Scarlett. I do have an aggregate system that I run on my Logic Pro. So it's an aggregate system because I have 2 separate audio interfaces that are connected into my iMac, and then essentially what the iMac is doing is it is running them in parallel with each other as if they are one audio interface. Pretty sick, you know, feature that Mac has. Maybe PCs are doing this and I don't know. I never saw it when I was building custom PCs and that kind of stuff. It was never available. I always had tons of issues with, you know, jitter and clipping and just not clipping, but like dropouts. That's the word. I would have signal dropouts constantly, and didn't matter what I did. I tried tons of different audio interfaces, and I always just had this problem on PCs. I never have had any of those problems since moving over to Mac. I really am a Mac fanboy. Sorry for PC people out there, but you know, when it comes to creative stuff, there is just no comparison in my opinion. So yeah, the idea is this year I'm gonna probably start purchasing some external stuff and start recording with that, and we'll see how that stuff goes. So appreciate you guys watching. Take care.